Welcome to Stark Raving Social, the podcast for comms pros who want to stay ahead in a world that won't stop changing. Your host is Sherrilynne Starkie, social media strategist, industry pioneer, and trusted advisor to brands navigating the digital landscape. With decades of experience in marketing, PR, and social media, she's here to bring you the insights, strategies, and conversations you need to stay ahead of the curve. From shifting algorithms to AI-driven content, from crisis comms to culture shifts, if it's shaping the future of our industry, you'll hear about it here. This is Stark Raving Social.
Welcome to Stark Raving Social, the bite-sized podcast for marketing communications professionals who want to stay ahead in a world that won't stop changing. I'm your host, Sherrilynne Starkie. Today, we're talking about one of the most efficient, practical, and honestly underused content strategies in our industry, repurposing. And no, I don't mean copy and paste. I mean thoughtful, strategic reuse that turns one great idea into a dozen valuable assets. In fact, I'll go one step further. If you're not repurposing your content, you're not getting the full value out of your work. Period. Let's start with the big picture. You work hard to create a strong piece of content. You research it, you craft the message, you polish the tone. Maybe it's a podcast episode, maybe it's a long-form article, or maybe it's a video you spent hours or even weeks developing. So why would you share it once, check it off the list, and never use it again? Repurposing lets you take that one high-effort piece and stretch it across platforms, formats, and audiences. You can turn an article into a podcast into a carousel, a video into a series of short clips, quotes, social posts, and emails. You can even pitch the core story to media or use it as the basis for a webinar. This isn't just theory. I've done this for clients again and again. One of my higher ed clients runs a thought leadership campaign that centers around a podcast. That podcast, it's the engine for their entire strategy. It gets turned into blog posts, LinkedIn content, email newsletters, quote graphics, you name it. And because the message is consistent across channels, it builds credibility over time. Another example comes from a health sector client who invested heavily in a beautiful brand video. I mean, this was a serious production, professional filming, high emotional impact, the works. The kind of thing you don't want to waste. So we didn't. Instead of a one-and-done premiere, we published that video monthly for an entire year. Every single month, it ranked among the top-performing content across all of their social channels. Engagement stayed high. The audience kept responding. It didn't lose power. It actually gained it over time. That's what repurposing can do. And here's the other thing, I practice what I preach. This podcast you're listening to, it's based on my blog posts. I rework the content for audio so I can reach people who prefer to listen instead of read. Different formats for different habits. Same ideas, new audiences. Now, I get it. Some people worry that repurposing feels repetitive, but I want to reframe that. Repetition is not the enemy, and visibility is. You've probably heard of the old marketing rule that says people need to hear your message 7 times before they take action. But in today's world of fractured feeds and algorithm chaos, it's probably more like 17 or more. Most people won't see your content the first time, or the second, maybe not even the third. That's not a failure, that's just how the system works. Repurposing gives your message more chances to break through. But, and this is important, you can't just blast the same content everywhere without changes. Repurposing doesn't mean just cross-posting. Each platform has its own tone, format, and expectations. Instagram rewards curated visuals. TikTok thrives on raw authenticity. LinkedIn wants polish. Threads loves wit. And they all have different rules for links, captions, dimensions, and video formats. Even the technical side matters. A native video uploaded directly to LinkedIn will get more reach than one shared from YouTube. Instagram won't let you include clickable links and captions. Facebook tends to downrank posts without bound links. So repurposing isn't just about content variety. It's also about platform performance. Here's how I manage it. I work from a 5-week content calendar with a goal of posting at least 3 times a week. That gives me a base. Then I track what works and use that insight to decide what content gets reshaped and shared again. And I lean heavily on tools to do this. Canva, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, even ChatGPT, they help me resize, rewrite, adjust the tone, and keep everything on track without starting from scratch every time. Years ago, people used to complain about seeing the same content too often. But social media doesn't work that way anymore. Our feeds aren't chronological and they're not comprehensive. Algorithms decide what we see and what we don't. So if you want your audience to remember your message, you have to meet them where they are. More than once, in more than one way. Repurposing is how you do that. It's not just efficient, it's strategic. It's respectful of your time and of your audience's habits. And it's one of the best ways to get more from the content you've already created. That's it for this show. Thanks for listening, and remember, your best content doesn't have to be a one-hit wonder. I'm Sherrilynne Starkie, and this is Stark Raving Social.
Thanks for tuning in. If you got value from today's show, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave a rating or review, which helps others find the show. And if you know a fellow comms pro who could use these insights, share the podcast and help them stay ahead in a world that won't stop changing. Until next time, keep learning, keep adapting, and keep making an impact.